Yo, what's good everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be breaking down this NHL DFS slate for Tuesday, November 29th. And we got ourselves a 9-game slate here tonight where I'm going to go through a couple of my favorite line stacks, some of my favorite individual plays, and some of my favorite value plays. And then we'll wrap up the video talking a little prize picks. With that being said, let's dive into my spreadsheet here. And we're going to kick things off here like we always do in the top left-hand corner with those highest implied game totals, where you can see 3 of these games are coming in with an implied total of 6.5 goals, and then the other 6 games are coming in at 6 goals even. And then directly below that, we got the Vegas odds there, where you can see each team who's favored to win tonight. With that being said, let's dive into a couple of line stacks that I like here for tonight. First, starting with that first line for the Montreal Canadiens, we got Suzuki centering Caulfield and Dach. I've talked about these 3 a little bit already this year. A very young line here, really the first line of the future for this Montreal Canadiens team. They play very well together. There's a lot of chemistry between these 3, and they've been very good at home this year too, combining for 19 goals, 19 assists, 38 points in 11 home games, averaging over 3 points per game. And they have a great matchup at home here tonight to expand on that versus the San Jose Sharks, who've allowed 3.58 goals per game this season, the 5th most in the NHL. Now on top of that, this is a very strong correlated line stack as well, with all 3 of these guys playing big minutes together 5-on-5 and all playing on the number 1 power play. And then a cheaper line stack I like here tonight is that first line for the Calgary Flames. We got Lindholm centering Huberdeau and Toffoli, and of course we got the revenge narrative there with Jonathan Huberdeau playing against his former team in the Florida Panthers, who have not been very good defensively here as of late, allowing 4 goals per game over their past 5, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 70% rate during that stretch of games. Now on top of that, they're also playing on back-to-back nights after having just lost last night to the Edmonton Oilers 4-3 in overtime, on top of missing their best player in Alexander Barkov. So this is a good matchup here for Calgary tonight. It's a very strong correlated line as well. All 3 of these guys playing big minutes together 5-on-5 and all playing up on that number 1 power play. And they should get on the power play a handful of times here tonight, as the Florida Panthers actually lead the league in minor penalties taken. Now folks, before we dive into some of my favorite individual plays here, if you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Really helps these videos out and helps me out as well. And I'm going to have hockey content coming out for you guys all year long. The Discord continues to grow too. We got a great group of people in there talking some hockey. If you want to join that, link in the description below on this video. And for those of you who are on Twitter, if you want to give me a follow there, I am occasionally posting some NHL bets too. Alright, now diving into some of these individual plays here, we're going to kick it off with the forwards. First guy I got there is Brad Marchand of the Boston Bruins. Man, it feels like every time the Bruins play, we're highlighting at least one of these players. They've been one of the best teams in the NHL this year, and I like the matchup at home for them tonight against the Tampa Bay Lightning, who are playing on back-to-back nights. They won in overtime last night against the Buffalo Sabres, but gave up 5 goals to that Sabres team as well. We all know that this Bruins team has no issue scoring goals really against anybody, and I thought Brad Marchand was the best value play in that top 6 of forwards. $7,200, not bad at all for a guy who's got 17 points in 13 games. Plays on that first line and plays on that number 1 power play. And that penalty kill for Tampa has not been very good here as of late, and their past 4 games just hitting at a 69.2% rate. Now, my plan is to be all over this Nashville Predators team here tonight. Really like Philip Forsberg, Matt Duchene, Roman Josi. Could stack those 3 together, being that they all play up on the number 1 power play. Unfortunately, right now, Duchene and Forsberg are not playing on the same line 5-on-5. Otherwise, I'd like those 2 even more together. But Forsberg here at $6,600. He's got 17 points in 18 games this year, 10 points in 10 home games. Pretty consistent pace to say the least. Plays on that first line, plays on the number 1 power play, and has a great matchup here tonight at home against the Anaheim Ducks, who've given up 4.23 goals per game this year, the most in the NHL, on top of having the league's worst penalty kill that's hit at just a 65.4% rate. And that's not good for the Anaheim Ducks because they've taken the 2nd most minor penalties in the NHL this year. So we should see the Predators on the power play a handful of times here tonight, so I like targeting that in general. Another team I'll be targeting in general here tonight is the New York Islanders. You go look at this roster right now for the Philadelphia Flyers, and it looks like an AHL roster, and that might even be generous. They haven't won a game in their last 10. They're 0-7-3 during that stretch of games, where they've allowed a league-high 4.40 goals per game, with a penalty kill that's hit at just a 59% rate. They're playing some of the worst hockey across the league, to say the least, and Brock Nelson's been very good for the New York Islanders this year. 11 goals, 11 assists, 22 points in 23 games. We're going to see him play on that second line, but play up on that number one power play, and should log around anywhere from 18 to 20 minutes. Now, one team that's playing some really good hockey here as of late is the Vancouver Canucks. They've won 4 out of their last 5 while scoring 4.20 goals per game with the power play that's hit at a 25% rate. Part of the reason for that is they're getting some depth scoring right now, especially out of that second line from Elias Pettersson and Andrei Kuzmenko. Kuzmenko himself is riding a 5-game point streak right now where he's racked up 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points, essentially averaging 2 points per game, and he's shown some really nice upside during that stretch of games as well. In fact, just 2 games ago, he put up 29.5 DraftKings points. Love to see a ceiling like that out of a guy priced in the mid 5K range, and while I obviously don't expect him to average 2 points per game going forward this season, I am going to ride him out while he's hot right now. And speaking of guys who are riding a heater right now, look no further than Logan Couture of the San Jose Sharks. This guy's now put up 8 goals, 4 assists, 12 points in his past 10 games, while damn near averaging 15 DraftKings points per game. That's essentially 3x value at this current price here of $5,300, and I like the matchup for him here tonight on the road against Montreal Canadiens, who definitely have some bright young pieces that they're building around, but still haven't been very good defensively, allowing 3.48 goals per game this year, the 9th most in the NHL. We're going to see Couture play on that second line tonight, but play up on that number one power play, and should log around 18 minutes. And then I got Matt Duchene there of the Nashville Predators, who I name dropped earlier when I was going through Filip Forsberg. I wish he was playing on that first line with Filip Forsberg, but I'll take advantage of the price here at $4,300, especially in this home matchup against the Anaheim Ducks. And like I said, I'll stack him up with guys on that number one power play. You could do a little stack with him and Roman Josi, you could do Filip Forsberg and Roman Josi, or play all 3 of those guys together, hoping they do get on the power play a handful of times here tonight. But Duchene has been good at home this year, 3 goals, 6 assists, 9 points in 10 games, averaging around 11 DraftKings points per game. So like I said, I'll definitely take advantage of that at this price here at $4,300. Now, moving over here to the defensemen, and it just feels like one of those slates where I'm probably going to have too much exposure to Roman Josi, but this guy has been lights out at home this year. 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points in 10 home games, where he's averaging over 5 shots on net per game, averaging close to 2.5 block shots per game, which is all translated to 21.5 DraftKings points per game. Yes, he's expensive here at $8,100, but I don't care, especially considering the matchup against this Ducks team, who allows a lot of goals and is just abysmal on the penalty kill. I then got Noah Dobson there of the New York Islanders. Talked about how much I love that matchup for the Islanders tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers, who have just been awful over their past 10 games, and that might even be putting it nicely. Dobson here is a guy who's going to play about 20 minutes in all situations while up on that number one power play, and I like stacking him with guys like Brock Nelson and Anders Lee on that number one power play, because 7 of Dobson's 15 points this year have come when they're on the PP. And then I got Noah Hanifin there of the Calgary Flames. Again, talked about how much I like that matchup for them tonight at home against the Florida Panthers. Hanifin has played progressively better with each and every game this year. I talked about it probably about a month ago now. Why we were getting him in the 3K range was beyond me, but we took advantage of that, and I'll still play him here at $4,800, a guy who logs around 23 minutes per night, gets time on that number 2 power play, and plays on the penalty kill as well, and he's a very well-rounded defenseman who can rack up DraftKings points in a number of different ways. He's got 6 points here in his past 10 games, averages around 2.5 shots on net per game, and close to 2 block shots per game too. Now, I believe this is the first time I've done this year, and I'm not a fan of doing it, but I'm not in love with the sub 4K defenseman plays tonight either. I do think there's some decent value. You can see there in the notes off to the right-hand side. Put Cam Fowler there of the Anaheim Ducks, Tanev of the Calgary Flames, Schenn of the Vancouver Canucks, Sanheim of the Philadelphia Flyers, Walker of the LA Kings, and Benning there of the San Jose Sharks. I would actually really like betting if we get word that he's going to be playing on that number 2 power play tonight. Sounds like Mario Ferraro is going to be out for the Sharks, so keep an eye on that. If that does end up being the case, he would be the guy that I put on the spreadsheet here, but I just couldn't put my thumb on one of those guys, so I wanted to go through all of those honorable mentions. But for what it's worth, I'll probably be spending above $4K at the defenseman position tonight. And then I got a couple of goaltenders there for you, higher priced and lower priced option. Two guys that I've highlighted quite a bit this year, and actually was just reading an article on NHL.com last night. 2 months into the NHL season, these two are favored to win the Vezina at this point. Now, obviously a long way to go this year, but these two are playing some really good hockey. Allmark there are the Boston Bruins. He's now 13-1-0 with the goals allowed average at 2.00 and a save percentage of .935 and has 9.6 goals save above expected, the 5th best in the NHL. Now, the last time I talked about Connor Hellebuyck, he kind of got lit up against the Minnesota Wild, but that doesn't change the fact that he's been a very good goaltender in general this year. He's now got a 10-5-1 record with the goals allowed average at 2.43 and a save percentage of .925 and has 10.6 goals save above expected, the 4th best in the NHL. And as always, going to wrap up this spreadsheet here with 3 low-priced options or sub-4K forward plays. First guy I got there is Sean Monahan of the Montreal Canadiens. Now, do keep an eye on the lineups tonight, like we always should be anyways, but especially here with Monahan, he did miss practice yesterday. It sounds like it was just a maintenance day, so I expect him to play here tonight, and assuming that he does play, he'll play on that third line in number 1 power play, and has really just seemed to find his game here again, or regain his confidence with the Montreal Canadiens, especially as of late, where he's racked up 2 goals, 3 assists, 5 points, with 20 shots on net over his past 5 games. Next, I got Jean-Gabriel Pageau there of the New York Islanders, who actually plays in a very similar role on that third line in number 1 power play. He's got 5 goals, 2 assists, 7 points here in his past 10, including 3 power play goals and 1 shorthanded goal, so you really like to see him taking advantage of the special teams time that he's getting, and he's got a great matchup to expand on that here tonight against the Philadelphia Flyers. And then Alexander Barabanov there of the San Jose Sharks, playing on that second line with Logan Couture and playing up on that number 1 power play, currently riding a 4-game point streak right now with 2 goals and 2 assists, and getting a lot of ice time as well, logging around 17 minutes per night. And then to wrap up the video here, want to talk a little prize picks with you guys. Started off the week on a good note last night, ended up going 2-0, looking to keep that rolling here tonight. But as I record early this morning, they don't have a single prop out for the NHL on this Tuesday slate, which is a bit odd, but you guys know the deal. Once those picks come out, I'll do my research and let you know my final picks in a comment below on this video, and I'll be sure to pin that comment as well. And don't forget, I am posting those picks in my Discord too. If you want to join that, a link in the description below. But of course, for those of you who have not signed up yet, let's talk a little prize picks here, introduce you to this app. It is pretty easy to use. First and foremost, you can pick all the way up to 5 picks if you want to. The more picks you have, the more money you can win. You can see here that there's a number of different ways that you can do it. Let's just limit it to 3 here. We'll go more. This is all hypothetical, people, but we have a flex play and power play. If you go the flex play route, you have a little room for error while still being able to win money. If you go the power play route, you need all of your picks to hit, but it also increases the payout. For example here, if we went 3 for 3, you put $100 down, you end up winning $500. So it is an easier payout or a better payout if you go the power play route, but you do have a little bit of leeway there with the flex play. So keep that in mind. For those of you who have not signed up for prize picks yet, but want to get in on this action, I got a promo code that you should definitely be taking advantage of. When you sign up, use my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, and Prize Picks will give you all the way up to a $100 match deposit. Now, you don't have to put $100 in either. You want to put in 50, they'll match 50. You want to put in 20, they'll match 20. They will match anything up to $100. Again, as long as you're using my promo code GRIFF, GRIFF, upon signing up. Alright everyone, that is going to wrap up this video here for today. As always, thank y'all for taking the time out of your day to watch the content here on this channel. If you could like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate that. Let's have ourselves a great day here, folks. Let's win some money on this 9-game slate. In the meantime, I'm out of here.